Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today's the 12th of April 2022. Alright everyone, let's get into it. So a lot of merge updates today over the last 24 hours. I covered the merge for a fair bit of yesterday's episode, and I'll be doing the same today. Things are really heating up here, guys. Like, it may feel like the merge is quote-unquote taking forever, maybe because I talk about it like all the time, and you probably hear about it from other sources. But it hasn't actually been that long since we've been doing these kind of like testing and kind of like these test nets and dev nets and things like that. In the kind of like latest round of things is what I kind of talked about yesterday and touched on yesterday with this mainnet shadow fork that they were doing. So this was a success. The block's finalizing, everything looks solid on the execution clients, and as Terrence says here, congrats to all the hardworking teams. So I think Marius had a tweet as well about this where he said, it was a huge success, but Nethermind and Besu, two of the execution layer clients, stopped at the transition, but a fix is being deployed to Nethermind that allows them to sync up, and Geth and Aragon are processing happily. And Geth and Aragon account for over 80% of the execution layer clients, so, if this was to happen on mainnet, it would be fine, because our client diversity on the execution layer isn't as good as we need it to be, and this is probably a time where non-client diversity is a positive, but not really. I mean, you could make an argument either way there. But essentially, for all intents and purposes, it was a huge success, which is awesome to see. I mean, as I said, this was the first mainnet shadow fork, and as I've described shadow forks before, basically taking the, network, an Ethereum network as it exists at one point in time today, and it's a live network, and forking that and doing the kind of like merge transition through that. So the fact that the first mainnet shadow fork actually worked with minimal issues, I would call these bugs with Nethermind and Besu minor bugs from what I've seen. And as I said, because they don't account for a lot of the chain anyway, right now at least, they wouldn't have stopped this transition going through. If this would happen on mainnet, it would have been fine. Everything seems to be going well, and you can see here there's a block explorer. Oh, no, sorry, not a block explorer, just like a dashboard where you can see everything going on the shadow forked network here, and you can see all the different kind of like nodes and stuff like that here. So very, very cool. I mean, I was speaking about dates yesterday as well around the merge, and I kind of like went all over that, and I said, 0% chance it's going to be in June. I mean, I even saw Tim Byko say on Twitter today that it's not happening in June. So that's just not me saying it. That's Tim Byko, who obviously is very heavily involved with Ethereum core development, saying that as well. I think this week on the core devs call on Friday, there's going to be a lot of discussions around dates. I think in particular, they're going to discuss about the difficulty bomb, because if we don't do a difficulty bomb, if we don't do the merge before we kind of like delay the difficulty bomb, or before the difficulty bomb goes off and makes the network basically unusable, we would have to do a separate hard fork to delay the difficulty bomb, because with the merge, the difficulty bomb is actually going away. It's not going to be a thing on Ethereum anymore. So I think there's going to be a lot of discussion on Friday around that, and we may get like a launch window. The difficulty bomb could still go off, and then we could just merge like 2 weeks later or something like that. But yeah, I'm not sure yet. As I said yesterday, I could see it being pushed out to August, September, kind of thing. But there's still a coin toss of it happening in July, right? It could happen in the end of July. I'm not sure. I think we're going to get a better idea on Friday around this, and it's going to be interesting to listen into this core developer call. But I think that the fact that the mainnet shadow fork went so well, and it seems that everything seems to be working, quite well besides these bugs and these other clients that we need to fix. We're probably going to do more of these kind of like shadow forks and see how it goes from there. But given all of this, I could see them still targeting kind of like a July, even August kind of timeline here. But even if it happens in August, I think the difficulty bomb at that point would need to be delayed another hard fork, depending on when it happens in August. Because for those who don't know, the difficulty bomb basically increases the difficulty on a kind of like curve that grows exponentially over time, which makes the block times a lot longer. So essentially what would happen is we would end up eventually with like 30, 40, 50 second minute blocks, right? And that's obviously unworkable for Ethereum. Like, imagine Ethereum having a 1 minute block. You'd be waiting at least 1 minute for your transactions to happen, all the DeFi stuff happening, all the arbitrage stuff happening on chain, the prices move a lot, within a minute. It would be unworkable. It'd be really, really slow, and it'd suck, right? It'd be really bad. So the difficulty bomb would have to be delayed from there. And who knows how long the delay would be? Maybe it's just a 3-month delay from there, because they're confident they can get the merge in within that time frame. But as I said, timing wise, we'll just look and see what happens on the core dev call on Friday, which I probably won't be able to cover on the refuel because of my traveling plans. But I'm sure you will see it on Twitter anyway and see what comes out of that, and things like that there. And there was another tweet here from Marius, that basically highlighted that the mainnet shadow fork actually found an issue that the core developers could have easily missed on the devnets. And the issue was that the default gas limit is set to 8 million, but miners voted it up to 30 million, right? On mainnet, it's 30 million. Since most validators would run with the default value, the gas limit would quickly drop. So essentially, if, for example, we did the merge and then the kind of like the validators running the default kind of like values at 8 million, we'd have a massive drop in the gas limit, which means that probably, I mean, the block space would get kind of like cut in 2/3 or less than that, and the fees would probably like skyrocket. There'd be a bit of pandemonium on chain, and then all the validators would have to vote it back up or change their values to 30 million again. So the default gas limit is now changed to 30 million. But yeah, this kind of stuff is easily missed on the devnet. So very, very cool that this was caught in the shadow fork. This isn't something that would prevent the merge from happening, but it would be kind of like something that would happen like immediately post-merge, where the gas limit, which is essentially Ethereum's block size, would go down a lot. And people would be like, why did this happen? And, you know, for I guess for like a little bit of time, people would be kind of like concerned and be like, you know, why did this happen? Like, what's going on? You know, this is really bad. And they might not even pick up on something like this, right? And that's what these shadow forks are for picking up. As I said before, guys, the merge is incredibly complex. It is not something easy to do. That's why there's so much testing being done. That's why there's so many different types of testing being done, because we need to be able to catch as much as possible, right? And I'd actually be concerned if there weren't issues being caught, because it would kind of like mean, are we missing something? Like, I remember feeling this when I believe the final test net that was done before the beacon chain was launched went off without a hitch. There were no issues. And I was like, I don't actually like that. You know, I feel better when there's issues being found, because if there's no issues, well, there's never no issues. Like, honestly, in software development, the one thing I've learned, especially within crypto, is that there are always issues, big or small. There is always going to be a bug that you will find at one point or another. And if you don't find anything, well, that's concerning, right? So yeah, that's kind of like something that they were able to catch with the mainnet shadow fork. And then Ethereum on ARM also tweeted out they're running their Kiln node on a Raspberry Pi 4 using only the micro SD as storage, which is really, really cool. So I like these sorts of things. I like being able to run Ethereum kind of like software on limited hardware, like a Raspberry Pi 4 instead of like a beefy machine or anything like that, because you don't need that. I mean, the whole point of Ethereum and the whole point of the fact that layer 1 is going to remain relatively unscalable for end users is because of the fact that we want to keep it easy to run, right? Easy to sync up a node, easy for everyone to kind of like have a history of the chain if they wanted to. So cool to see this from Ethereum on ARM here. But I think that's all of the merge updates for now. As I said, Friday's core dev call is going to be a big one. That's going to be very important to pay attention to. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on a plane during that core dev call, which sucks because I'm going to have to wait until I get off the plane and be able to check Twitter and kind of like see what's going on there. But I mean, it's not going to be anything kind of like, to FOMO over. It's probably just going to be a kind of like another target window given or something like that. Or maybe there's a decision made that the difficulty bomb needs to be delayed because the merge is probably not going to happen, before it starts affecting the network negatively. Who knows, right? Like, I am not going to sit here and say that I can give an accurate kind of like estimate or accurate measure of what's going to happen here. But as I said, like currently with the information I have available to me, July is a coin toss, so 50-50 on whenever happens in July. And I would say that's end of July if it happened in July. But it's looking more likely to be August or September. If it gets pushed out to September, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, like it's like 3 more months, right? I just don't get why people are so concerned about this. It's not like the ETH price is going to 10x immediately after the merge. Like that's just not going to happen, right? And the longer that it kind of like takes to happen, the longer that it takes the information to disseminate out there, the cheaper ETH you get. That's the way I think about it, because it's going to happen. It's just, if it happens like in June, July, August, September, it doesn't really matter. It's not that much of a kind of like I shy away from calling it a delay, because it's not a delay, but it's not that much of a difference, right? So yeah, something to keep in mind. I mean, I always harp on about this. I know some people find that annoying, but that's just the way I view things. So yeah. All right, so a bit of news from the signing in with Ethereum world today. So signing in with Ethereum wallets is now available as an option for all Auth0 clients. So Spruce ID has worked with Auth0 Lab to make this work. So this is basically using your Ethereum wallet as you normally would, sign in with Ethereum as I've described before, to sign in with the Auth0 platform here. So you can see there's a blog post here of what's going on with all of this and explaining how this all works. It's quite lengthy as well. Kind of goes through how it's actually working. So you can see this flow chart here of like, a website, user, login.xyz, and Ethereum ENS, and how that all works there with verifying signatures and all that sort of stuff there, and serving pages, which is very, very cool. And this is a guide of how to add sign in with Ethereum to what they call your tenant, which is kind of like what Auth0 provides here as a platform. You can see it's directly integrated into their software suite, which is very, very cool to see, right next to things like sign in with Slack, right? How cool is that? Sign in with Ethereum is becoming a, accepted Web 2 and Web 3 way to kind of like authenticate, which I'm obviously super excited about. But yeah, definitely check out this blog post for more information on this. This is one of the things I'm most excited about that is a non-financial thing in Ethereum. People always talk about and go on about, what are non-financial applications in Ethereum that don't just exist to make people money, aren't just Ponzi's, aren't just speculative vehicles. Well, it's sign in with Ethereum. That's like the perfect example. And ENS is another example that I always use. But sign in with Ethereum and ENS go hand in hand as well. But signing with Ethereum is just so powerful. Imagine signing in to anywhere on the web and being able to carry your profile with you, because your profile is your on-chain identity. And I talked yesterday about Git PoApp and PoApp in general, and about how they're going to make identity and reputation kind of like a thing in Ethereum. But signing with Ethereum just takes all that information that you have on your Ethereum account, and it lets you kind of like port that wherever you want. And that's going to be very, very powerful for things like decentralized social media, which I'm very excited about. Things like Lens Protocol, which I've spoken about before. But that's, to me, signing with Ethereum, to me, along with ENS and that whole family, is the thing that everyone should point to when people ask them about non-speculative, non-money, non-DeFi use cases of Ethereum. Obviously, we have the DAOs and stuff like that, but a lot of the DAOs are attached to monetary things because they have tokens, and those tokens are kind of like in the treasury and stuff like that. But signing with Ethereum, I don't know. I'm not going to say they're never going to have a token, because you guys know my rule is that everything has a token. But regardless of them having a token or not, signing with Ethereum is just such an incredibly cool primitive that can be integrated not just in Web 3, but in Web 2 as well. And that's what I'm actually most excited about, the integrations with Web 2, because it's like the Trojan horse of getting Ethereum into the Web 2 world. Imagine all these Web 2 websites, maybe not something like Facebook, maybe Twitter will do it, but not like Facebook or anything like that. But imagine a lot of these Web 2 websites say, okay, well, I have signed in with Facebook, I have signed in with Twitter, I've signed in with email, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'll just add sign in with Ethereum to my site. And then imagine the experience that people get from being able to port things over from, and port their profiles over from place to place, port all their state, all their kind of like, and especially their financial history, not financial history maybe, because hopefully we'll have privacy preserving stuff there, but like their financial state, right? Being able to kind of like exchange value through just signing in with Ethereum on things. That sort of stuff to me is super cool. That is Web3 to me. That is the coolest things. Web3 is kind of like this shared state where you control your own data, you control your own privacy eventually as well, and you'll be able to kind of like port that to different websites and different services across the internet. So definitely check out this blog post for more information on this. But I was excited to see this integration happen. All right, so Uniswap Labs has announced something today. So what they've announced is Uniswap Labs Ventures, which is basically the venture arm of Uniswap. So they say here, at Uniswap Labs, our goal is to unlock universal ownership and exchange for everyone, starting with bringing millions of people into the emerging Web3 economy. So what Uniswap Labs Ventures will do is it will invest in teams at different stages and levels of the Web3 stack, from infrastructure to developer tools and consumer-facing applications. We're also focused on investing in projects that are closely aligned with our values, building for the long run, collaborating openly with communities, and putting users first. So they've already invested in 11 companies and several native protocols across the Web3 ecosystem, such as Tenderly, Maker, Aave, and Compound, and PartyDAO and Layer Zero here as well, which is really cool to see. But yeah, I think this is cool. I think it's cool that Uniswap is doing more with their massive treasury that they have. I know that it kind of like, when you look at this and kind of like peel behind the curtain, some people get a bit annoyed because the treasury is mostly denominated in the Uni token, and the Uni token has not performed very well against USD and against ETH. Obviously, since during the first airdrop, like when everyone got the airdrop, and if you held on to it, you did quite well. But if you bought on market, especially near the all-time highs, you've done quite poorly. And if I just bring up kind of like how the Uni token has performed here, you understand what I mean. It's down 80% from its all-time high against USD. It's down even more against ETH. And a lot of people kind of look at that and are like, okay, well, I'm just completely wrecked on my investment. And now Uniswap Labs is using their treasury, or Uniswap Labs Ventures is using the treasury in order to fund other things. It's just going to put more sell pressure on the token and all that sort of stuff. But guys, I'll be honest, at the end of the day, this is going to happen regardless. So, for example, Uniswap has their treasury where they have Uni tokens, and they'll sell those Uni tokens to fund different things. Is it any different than Ethereum paying miners in ETH to secure the network, to basically add value to the network, to keep the network running, and then they sell that ETH to the market? Same is going to be true for stakers. Don't forget, stakers do get a block reward, and there's no cap on ETH's kind of like supply. The reason why we're going to be deflationary is because of the burn, but that is, orthogonal to kind of like the other stuff happening there, to the fact that we need to pay validators and miners and all that stuff there. So there's always going to be sell pressure coming from somewhere, but it's on the ecosystem to improve the tokenomics of the actual token. I've described ETH tokenomics in great detail plenty of times on the Refuel. To me, ETH has the best tokenomics, the best value accrual out of literally any asset within crypto. I don't see any other asset that has the same value accrual, mechanisms and the same kind of like value accrual narratives as well around it. Nothing even comes close, to be honest. But it doesn't mean that other things can't improve their tokenomics or can't come close. I mean, right now, if Uniswap wanted to, if the community came together to vote on this, they could implement that fee take for Uni token holders. They could just switch it on. 0.05% of the fee would go to Uni token holders. If they stake their Uni, it'd lock up a lot of Uni. It'd get a cash flow going. It'd be easier to evaluate. It'd be more enticing to buy. And the token would probably appreciate in value. But that's not happening for a myriad of different reasons. I think the biggest one is definitely regulatory reasons, because the Uniswap Labs team is not, they do not want to attract any kind of like undue attention because they're based in the US. I get that, but at the same time, it's kind of like shitty for the Uni token holders, and I totally get why people are upset. I personally don't hold any Uni. I think I sold all of my airdropped Uni at this point. I had a bunch across different addresses, so this isn't me being a salty bag holder or anything like that. This is me sympathizing with the people that kind of like bought this, and I get like their frustration. But at the same time, this is the sort of stuff that you have to take into account when buying into things. You need to realize that most things are stupidly overvalued in these tokens, and a lot of them don't have ways to keep that value and accrue value. A lot of them have low circulating supplies with tokens unlocking over time. So you really need to look into this. Like, I mean, maybe one day I should do a crash course on what I look at when I look at kind of like tokens to invest in, but I don't want to give investment advice. Like, I really don't want to tell someone, don't buy this because of that. Or I would never do that, and then it goes up in value. This is why I never really talk to especially newer people that I meet in real life about this. They always ask, what should I put money into? And if they push me on the matter, I just say to them, hey, like, I buy ETH. That's it. I just tell them what I buy. I don't tell them why I buy it, why I'm bullish on it. I don't tell them, why I think it's a good investment or anything like that. I just say I'm involved with Ethereum. I buy ETH. I hold ETH. That's what I do. And I just don't want to be seen as giving kind of like investment advice here. But I think that I would actually be able to do a lot of good going through the list of things I look for when looking at tokens to evaluate. Just to evaluate it as your own. Like, you can decide whether to buy or sell something or speculate on it. But in terms of actually what to look at, I think a lot of people are very confused. I think a lot of people don't realize this, especially newer people to the ecosystem, and they get taken to the cleaners, really, at the end of the day. And I've spoken about this on the Refuel plenty of times before, but there are so many retail investors that just get psyopsed, tricked, fleeced just constantly in this industry. I see it time and time again. And it just, it's a bit frustrating, but at times I kind of like think that people have to go through this trial by fire in order to become better investors. I truly believe that, to be honest. Because unless you have someone helping you like along the way that's very experienced. So for example, like if you had me helping you, and I don't do this for anyone, but if you had me like in your ear helping you, telling you and giving you all my experiences over the years of being in this market, you may not have to go through that trial by fire. But as I said, I'm not going to do that. Most people aren't going to do that. They don't want that responsibility. They don't want that headache of potentially even being wrong because the market just goes stupid for some reason. But I do think like someone even just babying you along and telling you, I don't think that's worth anywhere near as much as it's worth going through your trial by fire on your own. But anyway, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. I think it's cool what Uniswap Labs is doing here with ventures. I think it's going to lead to more funding of things, especially public goods within Ethereum. which is very, very cool. So yeah, definitely check out the blog post for more information about this. I'll link it in the YouTube description. So Arbitrum announced today that they're setting up a collab with Ratwell, which is a crypto artist. They're responsible for Tubby Cat's NFT. I've spoken about Ratwell on the Refuel before. Really big fan of what they're doing, or the work they're doing. Really big fan of Tubby Cats as well. I've got an honorary Tubby Cat there, so maybe I should just disclose that. And also Project Galaxy here. What they're doing is that they're collaborating on a 2-month-long journey to invite users to explore the DeFi NFT ecosystem on Arbitrum. So users who join will be able to claim up to 17 free exclusive NFTs designed by Ratwell, which is pretty enticing, right? These aren't just your random NFTs designed by just anyone. Ratwell is actually a very big deal in the NFT ecosystem, for those who don't know. They do a lot of amazing work. As I said, Tubby Cats is one of my favorite NFT projects. I know it's a profile picture NFT project, and I've said that I'm bearish on those before, but I think at least Tubby Cats, like they're kind of like using the funds for public goods funding as well. And they're also going, and the art's pretty cool as well. It's unique, and they're not I mean, there are some people on Twitter shilling it and stuff like that, but the community is really cool. Like, I really do like the community there. And I'm not just saying that because I have an honorary one or I have, a couple of other ones. Like, I mean, they're inconsequential to me in terms of kind of like monetary value, but I really do like the art at the end of the day there. And I think Ratwell has, 36,000 followers now on Twitter. So definitely not a no one. So you should definitely check out this if you want to get some of these exclusive NFTs. This kind of goes through what to do and which teams are going to be included in the round. So there's 56 projects included in the round, which is pretty big. And you know what's even bigger? I didn't even realize there were 56 projects on Arbitrum. That's crazy. Like, oh man, I'm gonna go on a layer 2 rant here if I don't stop myself. I'm not gonna say anything more than it's amazing that there's 56 projects on Arbitrum. There's probably more than that. These are just the ones that are included in this initiative. But you should definitely check out this blog post for more information about this and how to get involved with it. I think this is a really cool way to grow adoption and grow kind of usage of Arbitrum. But yeah, if you want to get your hands on one of those NFTs, definitely go check this out for yourself. All right, Connext has unveiled their latest upgrade that's coming to the network called Amarok. So this is going to be the first network upgrade that is going to come to the Connext bridge ecosystem here. So what is it? As Connext describes it here, Amarok is the first major network upgrade for Connext. For the past few months, we've been quietly collecting data about the biggest headaches that stakeholders face when using Connext. The Amarok upgrade re-architects our protocol to fix these headaches. So TLDR is that similar to the modular blockchain thesis, we can get the best set of trade-offs for bridges while preserving trust minimization by modularizing our architecture. So you can see here what the modularization of their architecture will entail on this image. So you'll have different layers like the application layer, and they'll have different protocols and stakeholders attached to them. So you can check this out. I'll link the thread, and then also, the Amarok upgrade migrates Connext to using Nomad to pass messages between chains. This lets us get rid of the first two-phase prepare fulfill flow, signing to claim funds and fund lockup issues, and makes the flow much cheaper and faster. So basically simplifying that whole flow there for using Connext, which of course is very, very good for the end user. And also they're kind of doing some stuff around liquidity here. And most importantly, this upgrade will enable simple chain-first integrations into Connext with arbitrary message passing and cross-chain callbacks. So this basically means asynchronous solidity, which is what they're calling a new paradigm, and what you can build is pretty much anything. And here are some examples of this, and this is what excited me the most. So basically, you can build a DEX that connects liquidity across chains in a single seamless transaction. Cross-chain vault zaps and vault strategy management, critical protocol operations such as replicating syncing global constants across chains, bringing Uni v3 TWAPs to every chain without introducing oracles, chain-agnostic VE token governance, and metaverse-to-metaverse interoperability. What I want to just deep dive into is the first point here, which is connecting DEX liquidity across chains in a single seamless transaction. Do you guys understand the implications of this? If I'm reading this right, and if am getting this right, which I think I am, potentially using Connext, you will be able to do a cross-chain, across kind of like L2 exchange between Arbitrum and Optimism, for example, where essentially you say on Arbitrum, I want to trade ETH for USDC on Optimism, and you can do that all while being on Arbitrum, while not needing to bridge your funds directly across to Optimism. It just all happens in a seamless transaction and brings it back for you. That is stupidly powerful. And I've talked about this before, but the fact that Connext is kind of making moves here with it, really, really bullish. I'm super excited for that. In terms of where this upgrade is in its life cycle, it's on a private test net right now with key partners and community members testing it out. And in the next few weeks, there's going to be a public testnet that anyone can build on, example cross-chain apps, guides, documents, protocol specifications, and more, and of course, audits. So if you want to get involved, you can join the Discord channel. It's linked there, but I'll link this thread in the YouTube description as well for you to check out. If you can't hear it in my voice, I'm super excited about this upgrade. I think it's going to enable a lot of really cool things, especially in the cross L2 world. So yeah, highly recommend checking this out and reading the blog post for more information here. All right, just wanted to highlight this blog post out of the ImmutableX ecosystem called A Guide to NFT Platform Security, which basically goes through the different platforms that are kind of working on NFTs, but also working on other things, and how they achieve security, what their bridges look like, what their consensus looks like, what they are on the L2 spectrum, on the sidechain spectrum, all that sort of stuff. And this is incredibly detailed, guys. I mean, you can see me scrolling through this right now. It is a 14-minute read, and this will give you an absolutely amazing view on not just like the NFT kind of security, but like just security in general on these L2 side chains, bridges, all that sort of stuff. So just wanted to highlight it and say I highly recommend giving it a read because of the fact that it just provided me a lot of value when I read through it, and I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it as well. So just before I jump into something I wanted to talk about at the end and rant a little bit about, just a quick shout out here. My talk that I had with Mehdi at the Sydney Blockchain Week event is now live on YouTube. So I'll link this in the YouTube description for you to check out. So for people who are asking for that, definitely give it a listen. I felt it was a really great talk, and I personally learned a lot with Mehdi as well. And we talked about a lot of ETH2 consensus layer related stuff. So definitely check this out. It'll be linked in the YouTube description below. All right, so the final thing I wanted to rant about here today is something that Coinbase announced, where they've basically announced the assets under consideration that they're looking to list in Q2 2022. Now, the reason I wanted to highlight this is because I quote tweeted this and said, to be honest, given how dog shit most of these assets are, I would have preferred zero transparency around them. Because the assets that they are looking to list, most of them, are so bloody bad that I actually can't believe that they're doing this. How far Coinbase has fallen since their original digital asset framework that I don't know how many of you remember this framework, came out a long time ago, 4+ years ago, that actually had a framework in place that kind of like, it was a really great framework for listing things. But now it seems like they're just listing anything. It doesn't even matter what it is. Look at some of this shit. Big data protocol. You'll recall that this is one of those yield farming scam Ponzi things that attracted billions of dollars in TVL. Justin Sun was farming it and stuff like that. And then it basically went to zero. Some of this other shit here. Just Dope Wars paper. What the hell is that, right? I haven't heard of most of these sorts of things. Honey, I don't even know what that is. There's some good ones in there like Index Corp and stuff like that. But look at this sort of stuff. I don't get it. There was one here called Student Coin Pokemon, which was an actual scam. Like it's not even a question of if it was or wasn't. It was a scam, and they're listing this. And the worst part about it is that most of these assets don't have any trading volume. So why are they listing them? Like it's not even like they're gonna make money from it. I'm ranting here, like full on ranting, guys, because I just thought that Coinbase could be that beacon for this industry, that legitimate beacon. It wasn't gonna be like a Binance or one of these offshore exchanges that just listed absolute crap, and it doesn't even make sense for them to list these things because of the fact that there's hardly any trading volume on them. So what are they expecting to make out of this? Like, I don't get it. Is this some kind of like weird marketing ploy where it gets everyone to talk about Coinbase because they're just considering listing the most absolute dog shit tokens you can think of? Like, I don't know. I remember ranting about them listing Shiba Inu. And honestly, that looks amazing compared to some of these assets, right? When I kind of compare it to stuff like Student Coin. What the hell is Student Coin? Like, I don't even know what it is. I really don't. And as I said, like the Pokemon scams, I don't know. I'm ranting too much here, guys. You're probably getting sick of my ranting already, but I just wanted to kind of like highlight that I think this is absolutely stupid. I'm so disappointed in Coinbase. I'm usually a pretty big fan of Coinbase, but I'm just so disappointed in this sort of stuff. I think that there are so many other assets that they don't have that they could list that are legitimate assets and that are actually a million times better than all of this sort of stuff. But yeah, I feel like maybe they've thrown, maybe the other reason maybe they did this is they threw a bunch of shit coins in here to throw people off and to say the legitimate coins and to stop people from kind of like trading them. I don't know. I really don't know. It's bizarre. It's confusing. It's just so many shit coins. And not to mention the Solana shit coins that they're listing too. Like, I don't get it. But anyway, they're all free to list what they want. But at the end of the day, I'm just disappointed as a kind of like, not user, because I can't actually use Coinbase because I can't sell on there. But as someone who's as obviously been a big fan of Coinbase, all that they've done for this ecosystem, I just hate that they're going to be funneling noobs into these just absolute shit coins and sometimes just even outright scams. Just doesn't really make much sense to me. But anyway, that's it on the rant side, and I think that's it for today's episode. So thank you everyone for listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the newsletter, join the Discord channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Thanks everyone.